I just want to rant a little because I see comments like this a lot, and I don't really understand this comment because we only been really focusing on part two characters. No part one character has ever gotten like a chapter to themselves ever since part two started, and we literally just got a new Helia and Corley. So to say that they're abandoning part two and really focusing on part one characters is really confusing to me. And I also don't understand why Mohoyo has to release battle suits that have to deal with the main story. And they have never always released battle suits like that. Like Captain verse battle suits has nothing to do with the main story. Yet people was fine with that. But now part one characters are getting battle suits during part two and it's like an issue. The part one casts are just replacing the Captain versus cast for battle suits and events. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Hoyoverse has never said part one cast characters were done. They was just they're gonna take a sideline. They're like more side characters now because their stories is like almost wrapped up until they want to bring them back in the spotlight when they decide to release APH 03. And this is a lot of misconception. I see a lot of people say Mihoyo said they were done with part one cast. I don't think they ever said that. They never said part one cast wasn't going to show up in part two. I'm pretty sure they even said part one cast was going to be in part two, just that they wasn't going to be the main characters. And that's perfectly fine. I feel like how part one is being in part two story is perfectly good and okay. Also, I don't see how this is an issue that the devs hyper focus on one character story. I feel like they always kind of done that. And who knows how the sales for part two is? Like, yeah, you can get a good estimate, but only Horrorverse themselves really know how part two is doing. Like I see people complain that they're releasing too much part one characters, but from what I see, I think there's only been 4, and 2 are part of the main story, 2 are events, which I feel like it's normal for Horrorverse to do that. And them having not a clear direction for part two, I don't really agree with that. I see a lot of people say that Horrorverse scrapped part two and during chapter 3X it made a whole new story, which I don't understand how people can think that because I feel like that's kind of possible because then you're telling me they have to rewrite the story, make battle suits, create the design, get voice lines, get the voice actors to do it, make cut scenes, and make CGs, and I just feel like that's impossible, or the game will at least come out really, really broken. I understand wanting more part 2 characters playable. I'm waiting for Layla, but they're clearly not ready to release them yet, and for that they're like holding us off, which is good.